back to another episode of Manny Things, a channel where I bring you along with whoever I'm doing and I share it with you. Today, I think we've completed it, guys. I think. Right now, the Dillion XL750 is how it's going to be for a while. Now, what do I mean by that, guys? I mean, I've done some mods to it. I've bought accessories. I've tricked this thing out where I think it's going to be where I need it to be for the foreseeable future. I may add some other things, and I'll discuss that here shortly. So let's dive down close to it, guys. We'll bring you right up and show you all the accessories and add-ons I've made to my Dillion XL750. All right, guys. So the first and most important thing I think you need on a progressive press, if you plan on bumping out rounds, like say you're a competition shooter or a high-level plinker, is getting yourself a primer shoot, a used primer shoot. Now this one is my second primer shoot. I've gotten this and the first one from RangePanda.com from Eric Steiner. I bought everything with my own money, guys. The only thing I did was I got a discount on this when the first primer shoot broke. He offered me a free 3D printed one, and I'm like, no, I wanted this one because when I bought my 3D printed one, right after that, they just released that shoot. So I'm like, no, give me 20% off, and I'm going to buy that. Pretty much just covered the shipping cost for that, so that's no big deal. That's about a $21, $22 part. Very much needed. It's CNC part. It even comes with the tube now because the 3D printed one does not come with the tube. So there's that. That's about 22 bucks. Very needed. This goes down to a Gatorade bottle hooked to a water bottle bike holder that he recommends using. So definitely get one of those. The next thing that I like the most, and is my most recent purchase, was this 3D printed chute. Now you're gonna be like, Manny, why do you need that chute? You can put your small bin right here and it'll be fine. But I'm like, no, I don't like emptying this every 200 rounds. I'm kind of lazy, and when I load, I kind of like to do a bulk run, sort of say, not truly bulk, but so we're gonna, as you can see, I got this big old bin right here. See, so if I load a round off, it bounces down the chute and into my bucket, and that holds. That's a full-size acro bin. That could hold nearly 1,000 if I blocked off the front with like an inline fabrication thing, if I want. If not, maybe 500 to 600 rounds without worrying about it. So that was another $18 I spent there at Range Panda. Totally worth it, I feel. No modifications needed. You can take it off if you don't need it. You know, it just slides right onto the factory mount. Pretty darn cool. And it's nice and tight, and he will replace it. If you break anything, he will replace it. So if this get broke for some odd reason, he'd replace it. It's like he replaced my primer shoot. I mean, I paid a little more because I wanted the CNC'd one. So there's that. As you can see, guys, it's kind of dark right here. So when you're really paying attention, since I don't have a powder cop on here, you can sometimes miss some powder. But you want to make sure and verify each case. So I'm like, it's a little dark in here, even with my normal lights on that aren't on for videoing. I got this little LED light that I had for filming, and boom. This thing lights up this, so when you're looking down at it, you can see perfectly, see all the powder, make sure you're verifying your charges. So that's a really nice thing. I already had this, so this was just zip tied on to the arm of the press. That cost me nothing, because I already bought it for for filming, but I decided not to use it, so there's that. So then we go here. Right here are these awesome little locator tabs for the pins on the press. You get 3 of those. Those are also from Range Panda. I think these are a couple bucks. Not a lot of money, and just makes it easier now to, if I need to take this out to pull a casing out, it's a whole lot easier instead of fiddling with it or losing them on my bench. So like I said, a couple bucks there. I did get a bullet tray from Dillon. This is the Dillon bullet tray that came on with my strong mount upgrade kit and the roller handle. So definitely needed upgrades to a base 750, just so everyone knows. I recommend those, because even if your bullets are down here on the bench, it's a whole lot easier, and your travel is so much less to get the bullet into the casing. So I highly recommend that. So now if we look up near my powder measurer, on the powder bar, I have a small Range Panda adjustment knob, just because it's easier to tell instead of figuring out It's a lot easier to grab instead of having to have the wrench. So I'd get one of these. These are like $6. Definitely worth it. They make a big one and a small one. If you want to run a powder cop, you need to run the small one. So that's why I have the small one. He did give me a large one at one point, and then I have a spare small one from my last order, just if this ever broke. I might get, if I don't ever get a powder cop here in the third station or a bullet feeder, I will go to the large one because it's more efficient. I wouldn't say it's more efficient. It's a little bit easier to get on there. Now, if you want to see, if we look up at the case feeder, I've done a couple things to it. One, I've added a magnet that I found, and this was a tip I found from Man Bun on Instagram. He had a little whole story reel about some upgrades he did to his 1050. So I was like, that's pretty cool. This will help you if you miss a steel case brass or steel case casing in your pickup and it gets into your feet. You know, you've washed it and it's gone into the case feeder. It'll catch it right here, so you won't have to worry about it going through the press and messing up your dies or anything. One problem I have had, this was up all the way to the top at one point, and the actuator bar to tell it needed a case would get lodged. It'd get stuck just from the magnetism. So I bumped it down a little bit and it still does the job. On this side, you'll see that I have a Range Panda load sheet, a load data sheet whiteboard with my load data. If you want it, you can have it. That's my own load data. Then I've got the the primer tube holder from Range Panda. And that holds 8 primer tubes, which I recommend. I only have 5 because I had the one that came with the press, plus 4 extras that I bought from Dillon, which are very handy objects when you, if you're going to plan on loading a bunch. I recommend loading them all up instead of loading them one at a time. I also say, if you're going to load that kind of rounds at one time, you might want to think about getting a loader, a primer fill tube, like a Vibra Prime or the loader from Dillon. Its name escapes me. But then, let's see, right up here in the top, right there, this is something I found really cool. Inline Fabrication makes a mirror that can go on the case feeder or a bullet feeder if you had one. Well, my ceiling's kind of low, as you can see. It's right off the screen. So, but I have this nice little office mirror that from where I'm standing loading ammo, I can see that I have cases. So I don't ever have to worry about, do I have cases in the case feeder? So I can just look up there and be like, yep, I've got plenty, or I need to add some more in. There you have it, guys. That is my Dillion XL750 upgrades that I've made to it since I've owned it, which is really nice. I like all my upgrades. The only thing I really can see about upgrading or adding to this press is maybe the powder cop, just as being in case and another level of safety and protection, so I don't have any issues at the range. I want to eliminate as much as I can. I make my QC as good as possible, but you never know. Some things could happen, especially if you're not fully paying attention to what's going on the press. But you should be. So there's that. I think that would be the only other upgrade I'd add to this press. So there you have it, guys. That's the update. That's the upgrades I've made. Think about it. There'll be a build sheet down in the description below for everything I've found, the things on Amazon, the things from RangePanda.com. I am not sponsored by Eric Steiner or Range Panda at all. I just believe in a good guy in the shooting community with good products, and they're at a relatively good price. Even you can get a bullet tray from him for like a third the price as a Dillon bullet tray. So there you have it, guys. Till next time, get out and do the thing.